Good morning, all of you. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope that you all must be doing great. So let's start with today's analysis video for 7th of May 2023. So firstly, we are seeing that Charles III crowned in the regal ceremony. In this picture, you can see him. And from Rishi Sunak's Bible reading to the Black Gospel Choir and the female bishops, the traditional event held unmistakable signs of modernity. But like this is okay, we know for our general knowledge, it's okay. Moving forward, here we are seeing that Manipur CM holds multi-party meet to resolve the unrest. And we know about the situation in the state of Manipur, how like violent riots they are happening and things they have taken a communal turn. So Manipur Chief Minister Mr. Biren, he held a multi-party meeting on Saturday evening for collectively working toward bringing peace and stability, even as the state was verifying the deaths of 18 to 20 people in the ethnic violence. So there is ethnic violence which is happening, and apart from this, okay, that's like an update kind of news, but इसके पीछे जो background है, जो main reason है, हमने ethnic diversity state of Manipur की वो समझी है. So all of that important things, it was covered yesterday also and day before yesterday. So do visit those videos if you haven't. And like knowing about that background, it is important. And those were the important details that we had discussed. So key Khalistani terrorist and wanted under UAPA Act was shot dead in Pakistan. So a Pakistan-based Khalistani terrorist from Punjab shot dead by two unidentified gunmen in Lahore. And he was a key leader of Khalistan Commando Force, which is a banned terrorist organization, was designated an individual terrorist under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act in 2020. So basically, जो amendments भी किए गए under the UAPA Act, वो हमारे लिए जानना important है. So one amendment was this only कि आप एक individual को भी terrorist categorize कर सकते हो. इससे पहले ये होता था कि आप किसी individual को नहीं कर सकते, but you can categorize an organization as a terrorist organization. But this was part of one of the amendments, and like you can search and find out कि और बाकी क्या amendments किए गए and क्या important features है of this act. All right, so moving forward. So here it's political news. Again, Dravidian model की बात हो रही है तो South Indian politics. Proposed oil refinery project. It leaves the villagers in the Konkan belt fuming. So आपको ये पता होना चाहिए इंडिया की जो कोस्टल एरियाज है, कोंकण बेल्ट कौन सा है, मालाबार कौन सा है एंड कोरोमंडल कोस्ट कौन सा होता है. So we see that the lush greenery, mango orchards and jackfruit trees, they offer a welcome relief from the blazing May sun on the Rajpur laterite plateau of Maharashtra's coastal Ratnagiri district. So इस single line में आप बोल सकते हैं इस first paragraph में बहुत important details आ गई. यहाँ पे mention हुआ laterite plateau. तो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए लेटराइट सॉइल कौन से पार्ट्स ऑफ इंडिया में हमें मिलता है, कहाँ पे उसको यूज किया जाता है एंड इसमें कौन से इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूट्रिएंट्स हमें मिलते हैं. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट यहाँ पे मेंशन किया गया मैंगो ऑर्चर्ड्स एंड जैक फ्रूट ट्रीज का. सो और क्या मतलब यहाँ पे हमें मिलता है in terms of agriculture, that becomes important. And coastal Ratnagiri district, हमने यहाँ बात करी, this is like this area is known as the Konkan belt. So Konkan belt में भी specifically आपको पता होना चाहिए exactly कौन सी states fall करती है when we are talking about the Konkan coast. So here people, the locals, they are protesting. You can see in this picture around 1,000 people, they are showing up at the work site every single day. So this project, it is the Ratnagiri Refinery and Petrochemicals Limited project is the one which is being proposed, and इसको हमने पहले भी discuss किया है in the explained section in Indian Express. So you can see it's an advertisement mention किया गया है about the National Lok Adalat. So यहाँ पे आपको पता होना चाहिए all the important details regarding Lok Adalats and basically क्या constitutional provisions हैं एंड किस टाइप के केसेस डील किए जाते हैं व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द नेशनल लोक अदालत, एंड जो फाइनल वर्डिक्ट रहता है क्या वो बाइंडिंग है या नहीं. सो ये सारी चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाती है, एंड दिस इज बीइंग ऑर्गेनाइज्ड बाय द दिल्ली ट्रैफिक पुलिस. And that's in coordination, like basically Delhi State Legal Services Authority. It is in coordination with the Delhi Traffic Police is organizing this National Lok Adalat. So you can find out about Lok Adalat and like जो छोटे मोटे केसेस होते हैं रिगार्डिंग द ट्रैफिक चलान्स, ये सारे केसेस डील किए जाएंगे एंड दे वुड बी रिजॉल्व्ड. सो इट वुड बी बेसिकली हेल्पिंग इन रिड्यूसिंग द burden of cases on the judiciary. So that is one of the purposes of holding lok adalats. And moving forward, so here we have a case study which is talking about an IS officer who was arrested from like Jharkhand, was posted in Jharkhand, and he's been suspended. Officer Chavi Ranjan. That was over the illegal land deals. So on because of that, and in connection with that, he's been arrested and now he's been suspended also by the Jharkhand government. So Enforcement Directorate had produced him before a Special Prevention of Money Laundering Act court, which had remanded him in 6 days of the ED custody. So he was the Director, Social Welfare Jharkhand, is suspended with immediate effect after his arrest by the ED under the PMLA Act of 2002. So he is a 2011 batch IS officer of Jharkhand cadre, was arrested and taken into ED custody after he was interrogated for 10 hours, and the special court had sent Mr. Rajan to Birsa Munda Central Jail. So हमारे लिए यहाँ पे important हो जाते हैं important provisions, the features, and what does this Prevention of Money Laundering Act talks about. So we're talking about the drug-resistant bacteria for TB. So scientists identify mutations in the DNA for early diagnosis of drug-resistant bacteria for TB. So TB is caused by bacteria. So tuberculosis, it's a treatable disease here. There are drugs available, and कुछ like disease they turn out to be, some forms of TB they turn out to be drug resistant, so वो थोड़े challenging हो जाते हैं. So scientists ने उससे regarding they have identified the mutations in the DNA so that early diagnosis possible हो सके when we are talking about the drug resistant TB. But जो drug resistant है, जो drug resistance site is now a major public health concern which is exacerbated by the emergence of multi and extensively drug resistant TB. So basically we are saying the situation it is getting much more worse when we're talking about the drug resistant TB, because now we are seeing multi and extensively drug resistant TB because वो भी अपनी मतलब form change कर रहा है, it is also getting mutated. So India, we have the largest burden of multi drug resistant TB bacteria, with the World Health Organization putting the figures at 0.39 million cases worldwide and highlighting there is a need to stop its spread. But India may we have the maximum number of cases when we are talking about the multi-drug resistant TB. And if long treatment and higher drug toxicity and the costly drug treatment make the multi-drug resistance and extensively drug resistant TB, it is becoming challenging to treat because of the situation. So a group of scientists which were led by CSIR, Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, the director, new study में they have established कि mutations जो होती हैं DNA में, repair genes, they could be used for the early diagnosis of multi-drug resistant TB and extensively drug resistant TB also. So they have identified comprised DNA repair as one of the normal mechanisms for the evolution of the drug resistance in Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which causes this disease in humans. So bacteria का नाम है Mycobacterium tuberculosis. एंड यू नीड टू नो कि बाकी अगर हम ग्लोबल लेवल पे टारगेट लेवल की बात करें, टारगेट ईयर की बात करें फॉर completely eliminating TB, so that is 2030, बट इंडिया ने इसको 5 साल पहले कर दिया है. सो फॉर इंडिया इट इज 2025 तक we have this target of completely eliminating TB from India. Alright, and वैसे it is 2030 at the global level अगर हम बात करें. For India में it is 2025. So ये years भी like जहाँ दे आर इम्पोर्टेंट यहाँ पे आपको पता होना चाहिए. लाइक हम जब इन्वायरमेंट से रिलेटेड सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट या एसडीजी की बात करते हैं तो वहाँ पे कुछ 5 टारगेट्स हैं व्हिच वर लाइक प्रपोज्ड या इंडिया ने they were made public in the COP26 meeting. So ये सारी कुछ चीजें जो इम्पोर्टेंट हो जाती है मेमोराइज करना when we are talking about the targets. So here we are seeing कि जो advanced light helicopter है, after this crash recent incidents, जो fleet है they have been again grounded for again like checks करने के लिए like फिर से कि क्या actually problem है जिसकी वजह से crash हो रहे हैं. So there are different variants of helicopter flying with the 3 services and the Coast Guard. So if we just here have a look at the name जो Indian fleet में हमें मिलते हैं. So it is crash landing of the Army's advanced light helicopter ALH MK3 last week was not due to a snag in the control roads. इस रीजन की वजह से नहीं था, अनलाइक जो पहले केसेस में इस रीजन की वजह से भी क्रैशेस हुए हैं, बट डिफरेंट प्रॉब्लम थी व्हिच इज स्टिल बीइंग असर्टेन. सो अभी एक्चुअल जिस प्रॉब्लम की वजह से क्रैश हुआ वो भी हमें नहीं पता है, बट इट वाज नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ अ स्नैग इन द कंट्रोल रोड्स. दैट्स वेरी क्लियर. मीनवाइल आर्मी ने ग्राउंड कर दी है इसकी जो बाकी फ्लीट है ऑफ द एडवांस लाइट हेलीकॉप्टर once again for precautionary checks following this incident. And 3 services and the Coast Guard had all grounded their advanced light helicopter fleets after this Navy ALH MK3. It was ditched at sea on 8th of March. So that's the update. And यहाँ पे अगर कुछ और like technical details mention होंगी, so I'm just looking for that. So there are around like 300 variants, different variants of the ALH helicopters which are flying with the 3 services and the Coast Guard. And usme different types are MK1, MK2, MK3, MK4, which is also called the Rudra Weapon System Integrated. So ये important term हो जाती है, तो आपको पता होना चाहिए. It is related to ALH helicopter, Rudra Weapon System Integrated. And there are around 145 indigenous ALH which are like operating right now with the army. 75 are Rudra, another 25 are ALH MK3s, and that's there. So the Air Force में there are around 70 of them, and Navy में there are 18. Coast Guard के पास there are 20 which are right now in the service. So because of the situation जो right now मणिपुर में हमें देखने को मिल रही है, there are violent protests going on and things have taken a communal turn. Ethnic violence हो रही है. So amid violence, Manipur it is going to set up peace committees in all the assembly constituencies. So how situation would be brought back to normal? For that, different steps लिए जा रहे हैं, and one of them is formation of peace committees in all the assembly constituencies in the state of Manipur. So the chief minister of Manipur said that a resolution was passed to form a peace committee in every assembly constituency to ensure that peace initiatives they were implemented at the grassroots level. Situation is like very tense, and we hope that no more violence is there, and adequate and timely steps are taken. So specifically जो tribals population है मणिपुर स्टेट में उनको टारगेट किया जा रहा है by non-tribals जो majority में मीटी community है, they are targeting the tribals, the state of Manipur. So tribals में Kuki tribes, they are being targeted, they're being lynched, they are being like left on the roads. So that is how scary the situation is in Manipur. So please seeks SIT probe hona chahiye into the alleged atrocities on tribals in Manipur. So Manipur Tribal Forum claims ki 30 people, they have been killed and 132 were injured in attacks by the dominant Meitei community and several villages, they were raided by them. और यहाँ पे इसमें जो सिचुएशन है फेक न्यूज भी आ जाती है, फेक न्यूज इज बीइंग स्प्रेड, so even that has made the things worse there. So president urges the students to live in harmony with the nature. So she exhorted the students to adapt एक ऐसा lifestyle जहाँ पे we are living in harmonious terms with the nature, and that would help the world face the challenges of global warming as well as the climate change. So she was addressing the 12th convocation ceremony of Maharaja Sri Ramchandra Bhanjadev University at Baripada in Odisha. So she hailed the university for establishing a sacred grove on its campus. And during her visit, she also met the people belonging to PVTG groups, particularly vulnerable tribal groups, and encouraged them to pursue their aspirations. So recent rain ki wajah se it is expected कि it would be expanding cotton farming in the North India. So government has set a target to cover around 7 lakh hectares this summer in the state of Haryana, 3 lakh hectares in Punjab, and in few parts of Rajasthan also. They could also see a switch from the bean cultivation to pulses cultivation. Bean cultivation and pulses cultivation say they might shift to cotton cultivation. So we know cotton एक kharif crop है, and Haryana में cotton, it's a like key summer crop, तो kharif crop है. It has so far been sown in around 3.5 lakh hectares. Government is targeting for now 7 lakh hectares. So that's there. And इसके अलावा like what are the important climatic conditions जो हमें चाहिए होती है for the cultivation of cotton, that is very very important for us to know given this news is there. So Punjab में cotton it has been sown on around 30,000 hectares so far. Government is now targeting to cover 3 lakh hectares. So जो recent rainfall हो रही है that is a good sign as it will prevent the problem of burning due to high temperatures. So ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएगी, बट ऑब्वियसली दिस इज अनसीजनल रेनफॉल, सो इसकी कोई श्योरिटी नहीं है एंड कोई पीरियोडिसिटी के बारे में वी कांट से. सो लास्ट ईयर देयर वाज लाइक सब्सटैंशियल लॉस देखने को मिला इन द कॉटन एक्रेज ड्यू टू दिस burning, and rain also helps in pacing up the sowing also, especially in those regions जहाँ पे irrigation facilities इतनी अच्छी नहीं है. So वहाँ पे भी rainfall becomes important, and farmers they are hopeful कि area under cotton it would surpass last year's average क्योंकि government it is discouraging sowing of water guzzling rice crop, and it is like going for crop diversification के लिए government is pushing more. So water guzzling में rice आ जाता है, sugar cane आ जाता है, so you can now shift to like expectations हैं and कुछ ऐसे like possibilities भी हो गई हैं, situation भी ऐसी है कि now you can shift to cotton cultivation, and which is not obviously a water guzzling crop या जिसमें बहुत ज्यादा water आपको चाहिए. So Punjab and Haryana में BT cotton it is sown in over 95% of the total area under cotton cultivation. So BT cotton उगाया जाता है, 95% is BT cotton, And remaining जो 5% है, that is cultivable area used for indigenous cotton varieties. So only 5% goes for the indigenous cotton varieties. So usually cotton को it is planted from mid-April to late May में plantation हो जाती है, sowing हो जाती है. And like you can find out about climatic conditions, जैसे मैंने आपको mention किया पहले भी. So Haryana, Rajasthan में farmers, they are likely to shift to cotton from crops like gwar. Gwar is the cluster bean, and pulses like जो मूंग दाल उगाई जाती है, which is called green gram also. So Rajasthan में भी, Haryana में भी, the farmers, they might shift to now cotton. That is an expectation because price भी अच्छा हो सकता है and climatic conditions are also favorable. So in Punjab, we are hopeful कि cotton acreage would be close to last year's. So that's the update as far as cotton cultivation, particularly North India, is concerned. So यहाँ पे it is being said कि जो 10 Indian languages है, they are going to get technical term dictionaries. So here the role of commission for scientific and technical terminology that becomes important. So आप इसके बारे में थोड़ा और find out कर सकते हो, and this falls under the Union Ministry of Education, and it is working on this technical and scientific terminology in 10 Indian languages that are underrepresented in the learning landscape. So ये 10 languages ऐसी हैं which are underrepresented, and उससे regarding technical term dictionaries पे काम चल रहा है by the Commission for Scientific and Technical Terminology under the Ministry of Education. So it will bring out what it calls the fundamental dictionaries, जहाँ पे 5,000 words per language in 3 to 4 months it would be launched. And they would be also in digital form also. So आप searchable format में बनाई जाएंगी and they would be free of cost. So languages, it includes Bodo, Santhali, Dogri, Kashmiri, Konkani, Nepali, Manipuri, Sindhi, Maithili, and Sanskrit. They are part of the list of 22 official languages of India, जो हमारे 8th schedule of Constitution में भी mentioned हैं. However, there is paucity of study material in all these languages, primarily क्योंकि lack of words to describe the scientific phenomena ये challenges हैं, and जो technical terms है, particularly आप इस language में कैसे you will be using to address some scientific phenomena, so वो challenge है, and there is like paucity and like there is very less study material also which is available in all these languages which are mentioned above. Now we will move to Financial Express. So as per the CEO of Go First Airlines, he says कि it can fly in a week. We know कि क्या developments हुई हैं past 2 to 3 days से we have been talking about this. So airline says कि it has enough funds to run the operations for 10 days. So 10 days के लिए ही इतने funds है कि they can run the airlines. And definitely they have filed for bankruptcy also. So caveat ये है कि bankruptcy court should restrain the aircraft lessors. And इसके अलावा कल हमने ये चीज भी डिटेल में डिस्कस करी थी कि जो एयरक्राफ्ट लीज पे लिए गए हैं उनको कैसे डी रजिस्टर किया जाता है, क्या पूरा प्रोसेस है, एंड पास्ट में क्या ये प्रोसेस कभी इंडिया में फॉलो किया गया है या नहीं, मतलब कभी ऐसे कोई इंस्टेंस आया कि हमें ये यूज करना पड़ा, तो कल हमने उसके बारे में इन डिटेल डिस्कशन किया था. So CEO says कि we will 100% be able to save the airline if the court starts an insolvency resolution process immediately. So they have filed for insolvency protection on Tuesday after जो उनकी half of the fleet है it was grounded with engine snags. So क्या reason है कि they have filed for bankruptcy, how situation got worse, ये reason भी हम discuss कर चुके हैं. And this set the airline back by rupees 10,800 crores in lost revenue and the additional expenses जो उनको incur करने पड़े in terms of maintenance. So government, it is working to rein in the inflation, says the finance minister. And now we are also seeing ki jo softening signals hai at the inflation front. We are also getting that. So that's a positive outlook, a positive picture we can say at the inflation front, because we took a very calibrated approach. Today we have an inflation which is slightly above the tolerance limit. So these are the words of finance minister. And अगर हम US Fed की बात करें तो उन्होंने अपना policy rate increase किया है by 25 basis points. So let's see what will India do in the next meeting. So inflation in India, it is significantly above, sorry, it is slightly above the tolerance limit. So tolerance limit kya hai? 2% से 6%. So say slightly it is above the 6% mark, and government ने like बहुत सारे steps लिए हैं. And we know कि monetary policy, tight monetary policy, it has been followed. So because the government took a very calibrated approach, उसकी वजह से we are seeing inflation is slightly above the tolerance limit, but which is like constantly being worked at. So it can be brought down that limit also. So still, as we say कि the war is not over. जब हम inflation की बात करते हैं तो that's there. And despite moderation जो हमें देखने को मिल रही है in inflation in recent months, जो recent OPEC plus का decision था to cut the production of crude oil, उसकी वजह से crude oil prices increase हुए हैं. एक वो challenge emerge हुआ, and एक और नया challenge था prediction of El Nino this year. So जिसकी वजह से हम आने वाले टाइम में फूड इन्फ्लेशन देख सकते हैं. एंड एक और है स्टिकी मिल्क इन्फ्लेशन. सो एक वो भी चैलेंज इज देयर एट द इन्फ्लेशन फ्रंट. बट हम बात करें, गवर्नमेंट कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर कर रहा है, फिस्कल पॉलिसी है एंड मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी दोनों वर्क कर रही है. बट इससे रिगार्डिंग भी वी हैड अ वेरी डिटेल्ड एंड क्रिटिकल एनालिसिस एंड डिस्कशन रिगार्डिंग इन्फ्लेशन की जो स्टेप्स आप ले रहे हो कि टाइट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी ने आपको कितना हेल्प किया है इन कंट्रोलिंग इन्फ्लेशन, एंड क्या डिफरेंट स्टेप्स और ले सकते थे आप जिससे इन्फ्लेशन को हम डायरेक्ट टारगेट कर सकते हैं. सो उसमें हमने बात करी थी कि सप्लाई साइड रीजंस की वजह से वी आर सीइंग द इन्फ्लेशन. सो कुछ ऐसे मेजर्स जो सप्लाई साइड मेजर्स हैं, दे कैन हेल्प अस इन ब्रिंगिंग डाउन द इन्फ्लेशन. एंड दिस वाज आल्सो, हमने बात करी थी अबाउट द व्यूज ऑफ वन ऑफ द मेंबर्स ऑफ मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी कमेटी ऑल्सो. उनका मानना भी यही था. सो रिटेल इन्फ्लेशन CPI इंडेक्स है, कंज्यूमर प्राइस इंडेक्स, जो मेजर करता है रिटेल इन्फ्लेशन. सो इट फेल टू 15 months low in the month of March and below 6% upper tolerance limit of RBI after remaining above this 6% limit for 2 months, as prices of most items, particularly food basket की बात करें, they have moderated, and जो base effect है that also came into play. So wholesale price inflation की बात करें तो it fell to 29-month low of 1.34% in March, and which was aided by a sustained decline in the commodity prices and favorable base effect. So base effect भी मैं बहुत बार explain कर चुकी हूँ, and that's going to be a repeat. So moving forward, so here is this article about the food services industry, फास्ट फूड रेवोल्यूशन कैसे हुआ. एक पूरी लाइक चार्ट आप देख सकते हो 1948 से 1996 तक, and junk, that happy meal. So here it is talking about, I guess, McD, you get happy meals there. So fast food does not, like, it don't have much to offer in terms of nutrition, obviously that's very true. जो उनके ill effects हैं on our health, they're also very well known, but still what explains they are like still sustaining that too successfully. तो हमें पता है कि न्यूट्रिशन की बात करें तो दे आर नॉट सो न्यूट्रिशियस हमारी हेल्थ के लिए. वी आर लाइक relying upon sustained consumption on the junk food, तो still हमारी जो health है उसको कोई इतना benefit नहीं होगा, despite knowing that why we are seeing कि जो fast food chains हैं, why they are still growing, they are sustaining, they are able to sustain so successfully. So WHO के कुछ यहाँ recommendations है, so we'll just go through them also. Fats regarding WHO says कि limit your fat intake to less than 30% of your energy intake, and you need to have unsaturated fats which are found in fish, avocado, and nuts, and you need to avoid the industrially produced trans fats. So trans fats हमारी body के लिए बहुत harmful होते हैं. You need to go for unsaturated fats, जिनके sources यहाँ पे mention किए गए हैं fish, avocado, and nuts. Talking about salt, so most people they are consuming too much sodium through the salt. So salt consumption भी बहुत ज़्यादा है इंडिया में. Though like through salt and they're like having a lot of sodium consumption. So NaCl, it is the like chemical formula for salt. So an average of 9 to 12 gram of salt we are taking in, and limit is only less than 5 grams per day. But how much we are consuming? 9 to 12 gram. Sugar की बात करें तो you need to reduce the intake of free sugars, which are all sugars added to the food. So artificially जो हमें पैकेज फूड मिलता है उसकी बात कर ले तो जो व्हाइट शुगर है दैट इज हार्मफुल, एंड जो आपको डेफिनेटली सॉफ्ट ड्रिंक्स में भी बहुत ज्यादा ऐड किया जाता है. सो इंस्टेड यू नीड टू रिप्लेस इट विद फ्रूट्स एंड वेजिटेबल्स. तो इसको हम बोलते हैं नेचुरल शुगर. जो आप अगर आप फ्रूट्स खाते हो, मीठे फ्रूट्स खाते हो, वेजिटेबल्स होती है जहाँ पे इट इज प्रेजेंट. सो जो फ्री शुगर का कंजम्पशन है वो हमें कम करने की जरूरत है. सो दीज आर द सम WHO recommendations, and you can just go through this timeline also. And यहाँ पे figures भी दे रखे हैं. So इसके अलावा I don't think so. जो बाकी डिटेल्स हैं दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट. सी यहाँ पे डिजीजेस मेंशन किए गए हैं. वेट गेन, जो ओबेसिटी की प्रॉब्लम है दैट ग्रोज. डेंटल इश्यूज देखने को मिले हैं. कैंसर हो रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ junk food. You can imagine cancer, it is causing cancer. So across ages, genders, and socioeconomic situations, excessive consumption of fast food is among the reasons for the gastrointestinal cancer. So carcinoma, it can be because of जो high fat होता है and fried foods की वजह से we can have this type of cancer. So the use of reused oil जो किया जाता है that is another major problem. तो आपको नहीं पता कि how many number of times they are reusing one particular oil, and ये बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा dangerous होता है. Specifically जो street foods हैं वहाँ पे this problem is there, and फास्ट फूड एंड आपकी मेंटल हेल्थ पे भी इम्पैक्ट होता है. इसके अलावा हेयर टेस्ट मैटर्स फॉर फ्यू पीपल, यस, बट अगेन टेस्ट से ज्यादा आई गेस हेल्थ मैटर्स. सो लेंडिंग अ देसी ट्विस्ट. सो यहाँ पे इवन दीज लाइक fast food chains, they are trying to bring in some desi twist so that again people they are not like वेरी. बट आज के टाइम में भी इतना नहीं है, इतना नहीं सोचते हैं. बट स्टिल दे आर लाइक डूइंग सम चेंजेस एंड ब्रिंगिंग इन सम चेंजेस. सो दैट्स देयर. इसके अलावा हाउ मच इज टू मच, कैसे पता चलेगा मतलब हाउ मच इज टू मच. सो लाइक ऑल्दो जंक फास्ट फूड्स दे आर बैड इन एवरी वे, न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट दे आर सेइंग कि रेगुलेटिंग द इनटेक rather than cutting back on them altogether is important. आप रेगुलेट कीजिए, मतलब आप 1 मंथ में कितना और जंक फूड खा रहे हो या फिर 1 वीक में आप कितना खा रहे हो, तो आप इसको रेगुलेट करो. कंप्लीटली स्टॉप करने की बात नहीं की जा रही है. सो दैट्स देयर. एंड मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, सो So savoring sattu. Sattu is a drink and it's a beverage which is made with sattu, an indigenous flour, which is consisting of a mixture of roasted ground pulses and cereals, is more than just a tradition in India. So it is refreshing and healthy, and it is ideal for summers. So A visit to a Bihari household is like incomplete without having a sattu meal, whether it's a sattu sharbat ya puri, paratha, litti choka or tikki. So it is found in the state of Bihar. So you can just like go through it once. So lack of physical activity, WHO is saying कि 4 to 5 million deaths per year could be averted अगर global population it was more physically active as per WHO. So global estimate indicates ये कर रहे हैं कि 27.5% of adults, 81% of adolescents do not meet 2010 WHO recommendations for physical activity. So ये तो 2010 के recommendations की बात हो रही है, and you can imagine 81% of adolescents they're not able to meet them. So exercising at least for 1 hour every single day is very, very important. You can like just go for a walk also, but it's very important. So do you really need 10,000 steps in a day or not? So recent reports, they have revealed that there is no magic number when it comes to reaping the health benefits of walking. So what is the right fit for you? So यहाँ पे risk factors which are involved in walking वो mention किए गए हैं, overuse injuries and falls and trippings हैं, illnesses which are related to heat. So that can be there, but it's very important that safely you are exercising. So precautions to take mentioned here, gradually increasing the intensity and duration of the exercise is important. ये नहीं कि अगर आज आपका first day of exercising, you are doing very heavy exercise. So that is not the way. Gradually you need to increase the intensity. Then you need to wear appropriate footwear. That's really, really very important. Staying hydrated is very important. Then listening to your body and not just, you know, doing too much or doing excess of exercise. Just listen to your body, जिसमें आप comfortable हो, go for that, and paying attention to the surroundings. So coming to Indian Express, let's see what are the important things in Indian Express today. So यहाँ पे बात की जा रही है coal bonds की, which are sold so far. So we see कि कहाँ से maximum funds आ रहे हैं. So 5 big metro cities, they account for 90% of the poll bonds which are sold so far. So IT capital Bengaluru, it is not in the top 5 with just 2% the total sales. So Bengaluru, it is not in the top 5. So यहाँ पे if we go by this data, so maximum, I guess it is coming from Mumbai. So Mumbai का maximum share है. Then we have Kolkata. इसके बाद we have Hyderabad. Then we have New Delhi, followed by Chennai, and then there are other cities. So Mumbai sells and Delhi redeems. So with nearly 65% of the bonds which are sold so far being redeemed in Delhi, it points towards the majority which are going to the national party is likely to have accounts in SBI's main New Delhi branch. Mumbai, it is the top choice for donors, indicating that the corporates in the financial capital, they are key contributors. So we know कि मुंबई को financial capital of India भी बोलते हैं. So it seems कि वहाँ से key contributors हैं जो financial capital के like जो corporates वहाँ वो करते हैं. They are the major contributors. But redeem हम देख रहे हैं न्यू दिल्ली में किया जाता है. So SBI की जो दिल्ली branch है वहाँ पे it's a like नॉर्म इन द प्रोसेस कि आप वहीं पे रिडीम कर सकते हो. तो बेसिकली आप फाइंड आउट कर सकते हो कि और क्या लाइक प्री कंडीशंस हैं व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड्स. So our vice president, he is in London and he praises the Chief Justice of India, the poll panel, and urges the Indian diaspora to be the ambassadors of India. So he attended the King Charles coronation ceremony, addressing the NRIs. So ordered that set off the present crisis in the state of Manipur. Manipur MLA moves Supreme Court against High Court order on the scheduled tribe status for this Meeti community, which is the non-tribals and which are there in majority in the state of Manipur. So this community is not a tribe. So is incidents ke baad, the clashes, the protests started happening in the state ki हाई कोर्ट ने ऑर्डर दिया था कि आप मीटी कम्युनिटी को स्केड्यूल ट्राइब स्टेटस दीजिए बट the MLA Manipur MLA he moved against this decision in the Supreme Court. So इसकी वजह से obviously मीटी community get charged up, things went communally and obviously that's not acceptable in any which way. Violence, be it communal violence, be it ethnic violence, it's not acceptable. So CJI says कि Supreme Court, it is not the Supreme Court of Tilak Marg. It is the apex court of India, by India, and for India. So amid a demand to set up the set up the benches of Orissa High Court in the southern and the western parts of the state, the CGI, he said that technology, it has obliterated the need for the benches of the High Court because there is a bench in each district that has a virtual court. So because of technology, he's saying that is obliterated the need for the benches of the high courts. So with several high courts, they're like having started the live streaming proceedings also. He said this has a flip side also. So like we judges, we need to be trained ourselves because we are now working in the age of social media. So that's important कि you are like tech savvy person also. आपको पता होना चाहिए how to need the use the technology, and every word we say in the court is up in the public realm now because we are living in the age of social media. So he was speaking at the National Conference on Digitization, Paperless Courts, and E-Initiatives at Odisha Judicial Academy in Cuttack. So every word which we judges say in the court is up in the public realm in the age of social media. So this places new demands on us as judges. So likewise, he says ki each high court, it is not really a high court for the metropolitan capital of the state. So the same thing even goes for the high courts also, if it is true for Supreme Court. He said that the vision of the e-court project is to provide affordable, accessible, cost-effective, environmentally sustainable, transparent, and accountable justice delivery system. So these are all the keywords, you can note them down. And he said each of these phrases signifies the core of our mission of reaching out to the citizens, of replacing what was the earlier colonial model of administration of justice under which citizens, they had to reach out to the court. So citizens को court को reach नहीं करना पड़ेगा. अब ऐसी age में हम रह रहे हैं कि courts would be reaching out to the citizens क्योंकि as we said we are in the age of social media. So we are having technology, we are having e-courts, live streaming हो रही है proceedings की. So he says that we seek to now replace it with the model as a model which is reaching out to the citizens. So cybersecurity pe he also mentioned that he has constituted a committee to ensure that data security and data privacy is maintained. And he said that they are in the process of evolving a national model for data security and privacy, which would be a major step. And as we know, that it's a fundamental right as well, a right to privacy. So this article is talking about the basic structure doctrine, which was, we got it from the Kesavananda Bharati judgment of 1973. So this is basically tracing the evolution from basic structure to the collegium. So Supreme Court's basic structure doctrine, it has recently completed 50 years. So that's why it's very, very important. So on 24th of April, 1973, the landmark Kesavananda Bharati versus Union of India, 13-judge bench of Supreme Court, they invented this doctrine of basic structure that mandates the court, it can review, it can restrict the parliament's power to amend the constitution's fundamental principles. So key fallout of this ruling, something that is borne out by the events that followed, was the executive's interference in the appointment of the judges, something that has shaped the Indian judiciary over the last 5 decades. So यहाँ पे अभी हमने देखा भी था कुछ महीनों पहले, this was a lot in news जब हम बात करते कॉलेजियम या हमने बात करी थी NJAC की भी. So that was basically government versus the judiciary, executive versus the judiciary हम बोल सकते हैं. So this is basically tracing out on that. So 26th April 1973 में जो convention था of seniority and जो senior like judge रहेगा, that would be the CJI, but 1973 में this convention was broken. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi के time की हम बात कर रहे हैं. She appointed Justice A.N. Ray as the Chief Justice of India. So this meant कि जो 3 और judges थे, senior judges थे, who were in line before Mr. A.N. Ray, sir, they were surpassed. So the 3 judges, their names are mentioned. So they were superseded and Justice A.N. Ray was made the Chief Justice of India. So 3 judges, they immediately went on leave and they subsequently resigned from their offices because of this incident. So यहाँ पे सारी details mention की गई हैं. So और जो basically हमने ना ये चीज proper detail में discuss की हुई है पहले कि इस जजमेंट से पहले क्या एवोल्यूशन रहा, क्या इंपॉर्टेंट जजमेंट्स रही, एंड हमने ये भी डिस्कस किया है कि in which all places this judgment it was used, it was implemented. So वो भी बहुत important चीज है, and that was very, very nicely discussed in one of the newspapers very recently. So यहाँ पे first judges case, second judges case, वो भी important हो जाता है, how this basically the collegium system, how it evolved. So यहाँ पे बात की जा रही है post emergency. So 1975 में there was emergency imposed in India. So post that emergency, Indira Gandhi, she returned to power. So then law minister जो थे शिव शंकर, he issued an order on 18th March 1981 seeking to transfer 1/3 of the judges of the high courts to further the national integration. So the challenge to this move became the first judges case आया, as it is popularly known as also as the first judges case. So SP Gupta versus the Union of India, Supreme Court ने decide किया in favor of the government holding the concept of primacy of the Chief Justice of India as like it was not really to be found in the constitution. So इस जजमेंट में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने फेवर किया गवर्नमेंट को एंड इट अपहेल्ड कि जो concept of primacy of Chief Justice of India, it was not really to be found in the constitution. This was upheld. So 12 years later, we had the second judges case 1993 में. So here Supreme Court, it overturned this decision जो first judges case में लिया गया था, and it cemented collegium system of appointment of the judges, which is still in place today. So Supreme Court it upheld कि जो भी questions हो गए of appointments, they had to be considered in the context of the independence of judiciary as a part of the basic structure of the constitution to secure rule of law, essential for the preservation of democratic system, broad scheme of separation of powers adopted in the constitution together with the DPSPs of separation of judiciary from the executive. So this was very, very important judgment of the second judge's case of 1993. So 2015 में it was Kesavananda's basic structure doctrine जो Supreme Court ने use की for the first time to fully strike down a constitutional amendments to alter the process of appointment of judges. So here we're talking about the NJAC, so 99th Constitutional Amendment 3, through which this was introduced by the government, NJAC Act, and it was struck down for the first time, जिसमें doctrine of basic structure को use किया गया 2015 में, and it gave the executive a foot in the door on the judge's appointment. So NJAC में basically government के पास भी power चली जाती when we talk about the appointment of the judges. So today, जो much of the criticism है of the basic structure doctrine, it is that कि जो unelected judges हैं, they are deciding what aspects of the constitution they must be protected, especially जब हम appointments की बात करते हैं. So क्योंकि वो appointment खुद ही कर रहे हैं, so that is one of the concerns या criticism ये किया जाता है. While both these issues, they might be up for the challenge in the future once again possible हैं, and we must acknowledge कि histories of the doctrine and how the unelected judges are appointed, they are entwined. So Ukraine downs the Russian missile with US defense system. We know ki how in a way the Western world, it has been supporting Ukraine. So US defense system, it is being deployed and used. So Patriot missiles की बात करें, आपको पता होना चाहिए, it is from US. So Ukrainian air defenses, they shot down Russian hypersonic missile for the first time during an attack on the capital city. And they used in a potentially major setback for the Kremlin's campaign of the long-range airstrikes. So the Kizhal, which means dagger in the Russian, it is one of the 6 next-generation weapons unveiled by the President Vladimir Putin in 2018, jab Russian leader he boasted that it cannot be shot down by any of the world's air defense systems. So us time pe ye claim kiya gaya tha, but as we see ki that's false. So Ukrainian Air Force commander, he said ki KH-47 Kizhal, it had been shot down on Thursday night over the region outside Kyiv. So they have used the US Patriot air defense system and striking it down. And Russia did not immediately comment on the Ukraine statement about the Kizhal. So आपको पता होना चाहिए कि Kizhal actually है क्या and कौन सी country से ये आता है. So pro-war writer hurt in the car bombing. So that's not important for us to know. So we are seeing flash floods in Congo and 176 people have died. So death tolls from the flash floods and landslides in eastern Congo, it has risen to 176 with some 100 people still missing according to the provisional assessment. So rivers, they broke their banks in villages in the territory of Kalehe, which is close to the shores of Lake Kivu. So please find out more about this Lake Kivu. Authorities, they also reported the sources of people injured, and National Day of Mourning, it has been declared by the President of Congo. So heavy rains witness की गई कुछ last दिनों में, which has brought this misery to thousands in East Africa with parts of Uganda and Kenya. They are also seeing heavy rainfall. So please open your atlases and locate these countries. So Sudan, the envoys, they begin talks in Jeddah today. We know about the situation in Sudan also. War is going on between the military and the paramilitary forces. So there is hope against hope. So Riyadh and Washington, they have welcomed the pre-negotiation talks between the army and the RSF, and they have urged them to actively engage following numerous violated ceasefires. But both the sides, they have made it very clear that they would only discuss a humanitarian truce, not negotiate an end to this war. So this they have very clearly put out. So Indian scientist-led team witnesses star engulfing Jupiter-sized planet. So even Earth could face a similar fate 5 billion years ago from now. And he is the person. So Kishle De, he is a postdoctoral scholar at MIT. And in this image you can see artist's impression showing a planet skimming the surface of its star. So अगर यहाँ पे हमें कुछ और instruments के बारे में अगर पता चलेगा, so that would be important. So in a first, scientists, they have witnessed a bloated star in our own galaxy swallowing a planet. This planetary feast is believed to have occurred near Aquila, which is an eagle-like constellation located about 12,000 light years away from the Earth. So a sun-like star, which is identified as ZTF SLRN 2020, gobbled up the entire hot gas giant planet, nearly measuring in size that of Jupiter. So this is one of the developments regarding science. So basically observations from the Hale telescope, which is called the Wide Field Infrared Camera, it was used. So you can find about all other important telescopes also. So all of that becomes important. Now coming to the economy page. So inflation ke baare mein, what a finance minister says, we've already talked about that. Then okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us in the today's analysis session, and do hit the subscription button for this channel, do subscribe us and hit the like button for this video also and share it with your friends. Thank you so much.